Good morning and welcome to this wonderful Wednesday and what we ate today. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday morning and I'm about to have my meal one. So I'll just go through it real quick for you, and later on we will have our talk and we'll go over some metabolic fun things. So, of course, coffee, my singular experience, which includes my 1 cup of coffee plus my double shot of espresso, a glass of water with electrolytes, unflavored electrolytes, because we are doing the 30 days of BBBE. I have 2 slices of delightfully perfect bacon. I set aside 2 of my brown butter nubs. And the main portion of the meal is this egg flour broth. And it also has some mini meatballs. I don't know if I can get one out to show you. Trying not to be messy Marvin on my work desk, but so they're very teeny tiny. It's about a quarter pound, and the flour part of the soup is egg. If you've ever had that in a restaurant, it's usually a chicken broth, but we're doing beef butter bacon egg, so I have beef broth. But all you do is to do that is you have your beaten egg in a little cup and your fork or your chopsticks, whichever. You bring your broth up to a rolling boil, and then you slowly drizzle it in while you stir with your chopsticks or your fork or whatever. And you keep giving it a mix, and you just drizzle it in, and it flours up and permeates through the soup. So that's really simple. It's delicious, and it's very warm and filling on these cool fall days. So I hope that you are having an amazing middle of the week. The end is in sight, and we are killing it, right? I know you are, because I see some of your other conversations and streams. So I'm real proud of everybody and all of the efforts you're putting in. And let me know anything else you want to talk about. Bye bye. Hey everyone, so here we are for our technical, big, giant, geeky nerddom moment today. And I said yesterday we were going to talk about macros, and I'm telling you, I'm going too far down in the weeds. So once you listen through it, you don't have to have learned all of this stuff, but I hope that some of it sticks into the back of your head. And in the meantime, if you have more questions about it, want to learn some more, or really want to tell me to get off with my nerdy math self, leave it in the comments and we'll circle back to it. But I think it's something that comes up a lot. You hear it all the time. Hey, are you tracking your macros? Do you know what your macros are? How are you doing on your macros? And there's always lots of answers following of, no, I've never done that. No, I don't want to do that. Yes, it's a lot of effort, so I don't really like to do that, and I don't have to do that. But at some point, you might get to a point where you want to really tune things in or troubleshoot your nutrition or any of those kind of things. So that's where learning where some of this comes from, because the other thing that happens is there are 9 million macro calculators on the internet, and you can enter in 10 different things and you're going to get 10 different results. So after we go through all of this, I'll explain a little bit about why there could be differences and what we can do for ourselves to help us mitigate that. So the first thing that happens is that you kind of need to figure out your calorie needs. I know. We always say, but calories don't matter. A calorie is not a calorie is not a calorie, and all of that is true, but you have to have a starting point for the mass. Your macronutrients all add up together to a caloric need. And so it also works vice versa. Your total caloric need breaks down into your macronutrients. So it's not that they don't matter, it's that they matter differently. The calorie is not the end all be all to your macronutrient tracking and nutrition adjustments. So, all right. So, and now we're diving in now. So in order to calculate your calorie needs, it's actually two things. It's resting energy expenditure, or REE, and non-resting energy expenditure, NREE. REE is the number of calories you burn at rest, so like sleeping, uh, sitting on the couch watching TV, breathing, just existing. And NREE is exactly what it is. So your non-resting energy expenditure. So during activities of exercise, maybe you're sweeping the house, or maybe you're washing the car, digesting your food because you just ate too much pot roast, all that kinds of thing. I say that because I made pot roast, and that is my plan for meal too. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, so when you add your REE and your NREE, so that's your resting energy expenditure plus your non-resting energy expenditure, that comes together to make up your total daily energy expenditure. I know, right? I'm already complicated, and it's going to get down there. So TDEE, total daily energy expenditure. That's your magic number. So, and the calculation to determine your TDEE has a name. It's called the Mifflin-St. Jeor equation. And there are oodles and oodles and oodles of calculators on there. So how does that break down, this Mifflin-St. Jeor equation? It has 4 major steps. So the first step is calculating your basal metabolic rate. The standard equations are different for men or women. So, and they use how much energy your body uses at rest, that REE. And it's also based on things like your age, your height, your weight, and that's what is called your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. I'm going to give you the formulas. Don't worry, don't even think about them. They're in a calculator. You don't have to know this. And it's a crazy person thing to know it. I even had to scratch it down on a paper to remind myself, because it's wildly complex. At the same time, it's also not that hard. It's if you are a man and BMR, and when we say men, we mean men who are either biological born men, or people who have transitioned to men, who have had all of the therapy and all of the biological changes that go with that, because your metabolism is equivalent. So it's 88.362, yes, really, plus 13.397 times your weight in kilograms. Wait, there's more. So you're going to do 13.397 times your weight in kilograms, and then add 88.362 to it. Set that number aside. Then you're going to add 4.799 times your height in centimeters. Set that number here. Then you're going to do 5.677 times your age in years. Now, those two numbers, those last two, the 4.799 times your height and the 5.677 times your age, add those two together. So now you have that total. And remember that number? We had to remember the 88.362 plus 13.3 yada 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 times your weight. Add those two together. That's the TDEE. For women, that's 447.593. Yes, I know that's a big difference, right? 447, 88.3, but there it is. 447.593 plus, okay, your other one is 9.247 times your weight in kilograms. So add those together. Your 9.247 times your weight in kilograms. Add that, and then multiply that, and then add your 447.593. Who's tired? I'm already I'm over this math, right? Anyway, so set that number aside. Now, for women, your next piece is 3.098 times your height in centimeters, always centimeters. These calculations are metric. I know that we don't use metric here, but now we're using metrics. And then set that aside, and your next calculation is 4.33 times your age. Now take your age and your height numbers, add those together, then add that to the first number you did, which was your 9.247 times your weight in kilograms plus 447.593. Okay, now we have our BMR. Oh my God, are we not done yet? No, we are not. Hold on. We have to do more math, and my dog has to totally freak out because there's a delivery. He'll calm down here in just a second. So, in fact, I promise he will. He's going to bark a little bit more, but we're just going to keep talking right over him because Dyson, there, he's going to bark some more. He just looked at me like, what? Don't you know, there's an emergency, there's a delivery. Anyway, so now that we have spent an inordinate amount of time on your BMR, there's more to do. So you have to multiply that by your activity factor. So that's going to add even more onto it because there are not a lot of us who are completely bedridden. If you are, there's still an activity level. It's not really zero. That's sedentary. So you would take that BMR number if you're sedentary and multiply it times 1.2. If you are lightly active, which would be less than 3 days a week, but you still exercise 1 or 2 days a week, that's lightly active. It bumps it up a little bit, so you would multiply by 1.375. Moderate exercise, that means you exercise some every day of the week. That brings it up to 1.55. Very active, that means you hard exercise every day, 1.725. And then strenuous exercise, or extra active, I think that's what they call it, is 1.9. Strenuous exercise, 2 or more times per day. Listen, there are not a lot of people who are on extra active 1.9. If you're looking at that, you are looking at like the Bronsons of the world. I keep invoking his name. I hope he doesn't mind. He probably doesn't even ever see my videos, which is fine. But, he's amazing, and he's super, super Mr. CrossFit active, and it shows. So, that's your 1.9. So don't think that you're, don't worry. You're unlikely to be in the extra active category. That's a very small amount of people. Moderate exercise seems really likely for a lot of people. And if you're just starting out on a health journey, or you're mobility limited, or you have health issues, don't worry. That's why those numbers exist for sedentary and lightly active. I know a lot of cancer patients who are sedentary. There's no way around it. You're exhausted from being unhealthy. You're exhausted from treatment. Getting out of your chair to get your own stinking glass of water is a trial for the day. That's okay. Anyway, so you've done all of that BMR stuff, and finally you did this last addition, this last multiplier for your activity. Now, finally, you get your total daily energy expenditure. Whew. So, but are we done? Please say we're done, Maitreya, except for we're not. I'm sorry. So from there, now you have to do the actual macronutrient calculations. and making adjustments based on what your goals are. Are you doing a goal to recompose your body? Are you making a goal to put on some muscle weight? Are you looking to lose weight? Those are going to be the kind of adjustments you're making because you want to add, subtract, or stay the same to your TDEE. If you want to lose weight, you reduce your calorie intake. Don't be extreme about it. You don't want to be in a constant deficit because you need your body to heal and get nutrition and all of that jazz. There are other things you can do. If you're looking to gain weight, increase. You know, a little 5% increase, and you'll get it on. You'll build your muscle. However, it's not as simple. I'm killing you, right? I just heard like the collective sigh of like, oh, but we're getting there. We really and truly are getting there. So, determining our macros. Know that you have to think about what your protein intake should be. You know that per lean body mass, you need to have a percentage per pound of body weight. Or per pound of lean body mass, depending on which kind of calculation you use. I prefer the simplicity of simply going by per pound of body weight. And for a pound of body weight, you want to be looking at somewhere between 0.7 to 1 point. Maybe even all the way up to 1.2. Oh, hey, that's a variable number. Remember how I mentioned that a lot of calculators will give you different numbers? That's because not all of them allow you to adjust that input. A lot of them lean towards that 0.7 when really, when you are looking at trying to recompose or build muscle and shed fat, it needs to be up higher to that 1.0 to 1.2. So, aha. It's also why I am a fan of the Keto Gains calculator, because it does let you tweak those numbers in there and help customize it more towards your personal preference. And of course, you know, there are recommendations on fat intake that varies widely, again, depending on what kind of food journey you are venturing on, whether you're looking to build muscle, recompose, if you're following a therapeutic ketogenic food plan for brain wellness, all of that. And remember, so your protein and your fat are going to be the bulk of your caloric intake, and then 80 of your calories are allocated for carbohydrates. I know, that sounds crazy, right? Or 5%, whichever is less. It's rarely the percentage. I know that we say percentage all the time, but that's why people get upset, because they think it's ratio. And we talked about keto ratios before, where we say often a lot of people say we hate ratios because 5% can be 20 or 200 depending, and the answer has been that's because through the internet storytelling adventure, people forgot that it's 5% or 20 total, depending on which is less. And they forgot that 20 or whichever is less. It just disappeared and became a 5%, which is not accurate for a ketogenic food plan. If you're not following a ketogenic food plan, then you'll have a different number. At any rate, so our macronutrient breakdown. Finally, here we are. Oh my gosh, my dog again. Dyson, we don't worry about that delivery. Evidently, we have packages. I am going to have to get things. How exciting. I hope that is something very special that we might look at on our live stream on Sunday. Probably not, though. It's probably just mail bills. Anyway, so here we are. You can look at a typical 1-to-1 keto macronutrient recommendation. You have that total up at the top, so you can work these numbers into it. 5% of your total is carbohydrates, or 20, whichever is less. Fats, around 45% of your total calories. Proteins, 50% of your total calories, and that'll keep you at a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, Maitreya, but fat is so important. You keep talking about how important fat is. But calories. So, proteins and carbs are 4 calories per gram. Fat is 9 calories per gram. So there's some difference there. Now, you'll notice that I said fats were 45, carbs are 5%. That adds up to 50. That's right. Your fats and carbs should equal to your proteins if you're doing 1-to-1. If you're doing 2-to-1 because that works better for your weight loss journey or your neurological health, or because you are needing to deepen your ketosis area, then you just adjust it. It means your fat will go up higher and your protein will reduce. Your carbs will stay at that 20 total. I highly recommend that you don't go over 30 total. Forget all about net carbs. Honestly, I wish that had never come up to be a thing. Just get rid of it altogether. It's too, as complex as all this is, why do you want to add more complication to it? It's too much. It's already too much. Even I'm tired of it. And I love this stuff. So it's just one of those things, though. Remember, this is one example. I did an example of a 1-to-1 ratio. And as always, you need to adjust it to your ratios. So you can fine tune it in order to achieve your goals. So if you are looking for blood sugar control or losing excess body fat, you'll have to tweak it, and you'll have to go through those calculators, which will give you options. The calculators on the back end are making all these tweaks. 1.7 for your activity. You're 62 years old. You're 25 years old. These things make a difference in how it's calculated. I know. I'm completely lost, you all, because I went way down in there. So tell me where I lost you in the comments so that we can pick one of these little pieces in there and break it down further and get into it. Otherwise, just remember, that's why the calculators are different, because they're controlling the macronutrient entry points. So they are tweaking how it calculates your TDEE with the amount of protein you take in, with the allocation of fats that they're allowing. They're tweaking the number used for your activity factor. Those calculators do a lot of automation, and that's why I say, honestly, I like to visit several of them. Actually, I made a spreadsheet for myself. Who am I kidding? But even that, I take my personal mass, and then I go through several calculators. I read up on their websites and see kind of what they're all about, and I take a look at it. I get a good median. I say, like, okay, this site says 1,200 calories. I know that's nonsense, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to say that's the lowest, and so. And then I go over here and this one says 2,500 calories. And I'm like, I know I don't feel good at that much unless I have gone, on a 75 to 100 mile bike ride. Then it's on. And so I go, and I take that out. And the rest seem to vary between 1,700 and 1,900. And I take those and I kind of squish them all together and make an average. I eat that way for about a month. And I see... I get on my scale, I track my food, I think about how my mental clarity's been, how satisfied I've been, if I'm feeling good, if I'm not feeling good, and then I tweak it just manually. I'm like, you know what? I'm still feeling a little peckish periodically, or my blood sugars are not as controlled as I would like, or I don't know, I'm not losing any weight, but I'm not gaining any weight, and I seem to be getting flabbier than I like. Things like that, and I say, like, okay, so based on that, let me go ahead and up my fat a little bit and take down my protein a little bit. or vice versa. Okay, well, I'm going to take down my fat a little bit and up my protein. Could be lots of different things. And so that's why I say it's all taken with a grain of salt, because we're keto and salt's delicious. But no, in all seriousness, um, I know this was intense and high math. Hopefully it gives you enough, and even if your eyes rolled over in the back and you took a little nap during the video, enough of it made sense to you that now you have a better knowledge going into those calculators and why it's asking the questions it's asking and how you may want to interpret the results. That was the ultimate goal of all this blather. So I will let you go. We'll go over meal 2 and we'll be done, and you can forget about all this math and just be like, hey, Maitreya, can you do my macros? Because math sucks. I don't think it sucks, but you probably might. It's a very popular thing for math to suck. So catch me later and let me know where I can help you out or where I lost you, all that whole 9 yards. Comment, just tell me about your day, if you're having a good day, if you're having a shitty day, so I can say something nice to you, because I always want to say nice things to you guys. And just let me know. We'll talk about it. Bye-bye. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It is time for meal number 2 on this wonderful Wednesday, which, well, I have something that's maybe not a little wonderful, but I was experimenting, but can I tell you, it's a massive fail. But I'm going to eat it anyways because I just can't even bother. I mean, it's not the worst. It's just very, very tough, but it is edible. What is it, you might say? Well, I make a lot of bundt cakes and stuff with, it's just so tough and dense. So that's what the inside looks like. I'm just saying it's rubbery. And I tried to, instead, since I usually use whey protein powder, I decided to try out my egg white protein powder. But because we're BBBE, I'm just really on the fence about the baking powder. I'm just not there yet. And plus, there's no dairy, which is often an impact. And I was really restricted on what I could start experimenting with. I'm going to tweak it some more, and it'll get there because it's tough and dense, but it's edible. So I'm going to keep tweaking it. And you might notice that in the descriptions, you're going to see now that with RoseAcres Farms, I have an affiliate code, LoveEggs 2022, for $3 off your order. You just enter it in the comments. They're in the process of revising their website, so it's a little weird right this moment, but totally works fine. You got to use your credit card because he's manually discounting it, but it all works out. Now, the cool thing about RoseAcres Farms is that they're a local Midwestern farm. So you know how I love my local highlights. So it's not a big conglomerate. Everything is locally sourced, all the whole 9 yards. So as a result, it does take them, 8 or 9 days or so to get product to you. But again, also super high quality with all of the organic buzzwords that we like to have, et cetera, et cetera. The smallest that they have, though, is the 5 pounds, so it is a little expensive, but honestly, we're buying like 2 pound bags for like $70 anyway, so $90 for 5 pounds. Really, it's about as cheap as you get out there. Plus, then you have a discount. It all works out. So that link's in there. And I didn't mean to be a commercial. I want to talk about our food. So I have my weird little egg protein thing there that's not a joy, which is probably for the best. Because it's so dense, I just have some melted butter. And I did some pot roast in the Instapot. It's super, super tender and nice. And, of course, I took the big fatty end piece for myself before the rest of the family starts digging into it. It just tears right apart. It's super, super nice, just perfect. And I brought some smoked salt just to top it off a little bit. So that's my meal 2. And of course, some water. Now, just to have some full disclosure, I'm going to have a second beverage today, and it's going to be a tea. Why? Because I forgot, and I had my coffee experience this morning, and tonight I am going to Mahjong Club, which is held in a coffee house, and it's very polite to purchase something there when they're giving you space for free for your games, which go on a lot longer than your average person who's zipping in for a coffee. But I've had a coffee experience, and so I'm just going to find like a gentle green tea and just have it straight up. I'll sip on it all evening, plus it'll warm me up. I don't really too worried about that. Instead of coffee, one of the days I'll have tea, that kind of stuff. I know that we have to be strict and we're following rules and all of that, but honestly, there are things where I have to make my decisions, and my decisions is that Mahjong Club is high priority and important to me, and so therefore I'm willing to have a tea and have that double experience today. It's what it is. So that's everything for my meal too, and that is the end of today's video vlog. So again, share your experiences with me. Let me know how you feel about baking powder. I posted it in a group, and so far the idea of baking powder is not very favorable for the BBBE. I have some tweaks that I think I could make though anyways. So I'm interested in hearing what your thoughts are about the baking powder. What else are you interested in hearing about? What else are you guys cooking? It's barely week 1, and I've already blown through a lot of recipes. So we're going to get some repeats in the real near future. Also egg pudding, because I love it and it's still my favorite, and I was wishing that I had had that today. But maybe for breakfast tomorrow, we'll see. Or meal 1, whatever you want to call it. All right. I'll talk to you soon. I hope that today's been real informational, and even though it was math heavy, that you got to experience a lot and you enjoyed it. And then I hope that you can forget all about it, because it was very mathy. So you're doing great. I appreciate you so much, and I love all our times together. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Okay, real quick, just a little addition. First of all, I didn't use all that melted butter. I melted way too much. And also, out of that egg protein failed experiment, as it cooled even more, it got more and more dense and chewy. And so I didn't eat it all. I had like about, a piece about this big off the bunt that was left, and I did have to discard it. But it did give me something to chew, and it was satisfying for the most part, but I just need a little more something else, and so I have 2 slices of bacon. So that now I'm really done with my meal too. That should top it off just nicely, and that's it. For reals, this time I'm done eating for today. See you later. Bye-bye.